All right, we're live, guys. I'm welcoming Steve Merlo from the Sawyer Massacre and Leatherface himself, Mr. Scotty Parkin. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing great.
Doing good.
Big excitement. Well, first thing, and I told these guys I want to wish my buddy Sal, Onifray, Officer Sal, had 2 weeks of surgery, got through one huge one, fighting cancer, had another one today, and heard from him, and he's doing well. And I'm excited about that. I'm so happy. One of the nicest guys I know. I think I got a get out of jail free card in Texas next time we go, so we can maybe do some donuts around Sal when he's back on the force. But welcome everybody. Welcome. This is an exciting night for me. I'm speaking with Steve Merlo of the Sawyer Massacre and Scotty Parkin, the star of the film.
Number 2 on the call sheet, so I don't know. So
Only number 2.
Only number 2.
You're
Yeah,
the antagonist, not the protagonist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. Yeah.
The guy's handled some business. Those damn kids.
You definitely had to go through the most, as far as
it was actually interesting because even though I didn't perform every day, I was working every day. There was 3 days where we actually had some downtime because of weather or travel. But yeah, it was overall fantastic. There were some trying moments, but overall, I wouldn't change a thing, honestly.
Yeah,
me neither. It's great.
Well, I was talking. I had Sarah on, Sarah Agnes Church, and she was so excited about this film. She was messaging me every day, telling me she can't wait to be there and how excited she was for the clip. And what an amazing experience you guys made for her. And I'm thanking you because I think it's amazing that what you guys did and the love you showed her and showed her such a great time. She's a thing of enthusiasm. And you guys were lucky enough to spend time with her.
I actually said to jump in real fast with this one. Meeting her, because we met some of the people that were backers of the film that were helping us out, but Sarah was one of those people where her and her dad drove about 17 hours from Chicago, and we're down there in Texas. Yeah, like Steve and I were down there for about a week before we started shooting. People started coming in, but then finally a week and a half in, Sarah shows up and she has just this rather quick scene. Without giving anything away, but this rather quick scene, and just the whole thing like that made even more real and more special, basically, because she wanted to do this film, and like I actually kind of got overwhelmed because I'm thinking like, wow, this person just wanted to be in this film so bad and meet us so bad that her and her dad traveled like a better part of a day just to literally say hi. And
a lot of people traveled a ways to be in our film, so
it was unbelievable to me.
Oh, she had the highest of praise for you, Scotty. She did. And you too, Steve. She said you were awfully busy, which is understandable. But I did your live clip, Scotty, and I thought you were just excited, kind of out of breath. I didn't realize, like, no spoilers because they didn't tell us any. We had them on the live, but you go in a basement scene. You showed the clips where the basement, the pictures, and you were like, her father told me you were like the nicest guy. It's like the guy's like a preacher, the nicest guy, and then he gets dressed up like Leatherface, and he's like, I was literally scared of this man coming down the stairs, and that it was so hot that you were out of breath when you do these clips. I'm guessing because you came upstairs, ripped off your leather gear stuff, your Leatherface stuff, and was excited to cut that scene, and we're excited to go, wow, this is so cool playing Leatherface. This was intense, and the way they explained it was intense.
Well, it was like a combination because at one time there was like 8-9 people in this small, like literally like maybe 10 by 12 room. And I'm a tall guy, but like I'm just shy of 6'6", and I'm wearing this 5, 6, 7 pound mask with like that thick of latex, that far from like a tungsten light bulb. So so like I'm really working it up, and a couple scenes actually used the actual chainsaw, and fully gassed up that weighed well over 50 pounds. No, we didn't start up inside because we would have really hurt ourselves, but taking this thing up to really use the weight to it. It was just I would have to take the mask off whenever I could just to get some water or some air.
I could believe it. That Texas heat was probably no joke either. Luckily, you weren't in there in like July, August.
Surprisingly, it was actually quite nice. It was about, I think the highest day was now this is Celsius. It was like maybe 21, 22 degrees. But in the basement, Steve, I don't know like how hot do you think it got down there?
Yeah. It was hot because there was a lot of us crammed in there, and so it was bearable. I think the most unbearable thing about the basement was the smell, because there was a mixture of fake blood all over the floor, which after day one of shooting in that basement, the fake blood would stick to your feet. You could it'd be like trying to walk around in there, so Scotty had baby powder for his face, and I think we bought more just to douse it all over the floor so that our feet wouldn't stick. But the combination of the smell of the baby powder and the fake blood just made
body odor.
I can only imagine the stink, and I can relate, Scotty. I mean, I wear like a Part 3 open face latex mask. I'll do it on Halloween, and I'm in it for a few minutes, and I don't even realize how much I'm sweating in the thing. I don't know how. I mean, people don't realize it, and I learned just by wearing a much thinner hood, not crammed into a basement, how hot it is. It's like, what is so wet? And it'll just be sweat. You don't even know you're sweating, and then when you finally do, it's like, oh my God. Michelle Blasky's here, the Third Channel. Best of luck on April 1st with that launch. Incredibly excited for you. My friend Chris Callie is here. Spoke to you about Camp Crystal Cabin 6. Mike, he's the guy who could probably help me with the audio on this. Mike, maybe I'll send you the link if you can help, because he'll know how to do it and he'll run it for me. If you're available, Mike. Amazing hawk baker. Best of luck, Michelle, with the Third Channel. I'm really rooting for you for that.
Well, like you were talking about the heat, and there was twice over the 2 weeks that we were shooting where I woke up the next morning thinking, oh, I didn't drink enough water. One of them was actually in the basement. So Steve actually didn't tell you this. When I got home, I weighed myself. I lost 15 pounds.
Whoa!
I actually lost 15 pounds, and I feel great.
I lost a few pounds myself, not 15, but I lost a few.
No.
You should just dress up like Leatherface and start jogging. You'd be great.
I think
it would be great to have this guy's jogging down the street as Leatherface.
Might get the cops calling me later. I will tell you a story of with my 2 encounters with State Patrol.
Save that one for later.
I will.
Funny story. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we had some interesting times down there.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
No, I will.
It's I mean, the whole production was wild. I mean, just leading up to production and everything, before even going to Texas, things were not going my way. If you want to know the truth, I think about 3 weeks before production started, our SFX artist quit just out of the blue. We needed her to make 3 Leatherface masks for us, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, she quit. Thankfully, I was networking with another great SFX artist, and he took on the job, and we made it work. We made it work in the short amount of time. But that was just one thing that happened. Some of the crew members kind of ghosted us, and transportation coordinator ghosted us. So, we had actors waiting to get picked up on the first day, and hey, Scotty wasn't working on the first day, so Scotty got to go for a ride around the Austin area. Austin,
I wish I would have taken the minivan and crammed them all in and cruised them around. I got AC too, and it actually works. I wish I could have been down there to watch some of the filming. I really wanted to.
Oh man, it was fun. It was always, we had to be very careful with we had to make a lot of changes to the script, due to certain things that were falling through. Vehicles was another thing, because we had to use authentic time period vehicles, and I thought I overbooked vehicles, and I guess not, because again, a lot of these people with vehicles, bailed on the filming. So I mean, we were scrambling. We had to change the script a little bit to accommodate that. It worked out. It worked. We made it work, but when all this stuff is happening, you can't help but think, are we screwed? There's part of you thinking, like, is this not meant to happen? Are we going to be able to pull this off? And I just have to say, overall, I'm so thankful that we had definitely the best cast and crew that I have ever worked with, that made it possible to actually pull this movie off. Because regardless of what people think, $28,000 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money to make a movie like this. No. You can make a pretty decent movie for 28 grand, but this movie is set in 1965, and with a massive cast, and the fact that I'm traveling all the way from Canada to Texas to make this movie, and bringing 2 actors with me, and other people coming from different areas of the U.S., and there was a lot of moving parts for this, and the fact that we actually pulled it off for a $28,000 budget is probably a miracle. If I'm being totally honest with you, it probably is a miracle. But
it sounds like you went through hell, but I mean, maybe that makes the whole project that much better too, even more better.
I think it does. You know what, John? I totally think it does, because everybody was so committed. And everybody wanted to do the impossible. The production manager said the night before filming, we lost a vehicle due to it not working. The night before we were supposed to start, we went from having 5 vehicles to 2 all of a sudden. And he says to me on the drive back after that, he says, it's probably going to be a miracle if you pull this off. He says it'll be a miracle, but I know you will, he said. And that kind of stuck with me, because I was really kind of feeling defeated at that point. We hadn't shot a single frame, but it was, part of me was feeling defeated. But him saying that made me think, I bet we can still pull this off. And you know what? We did. We pulled it off. But I'll tell you this. So if there was a single member of our cast or crew that was not up to snuff, we wouldn't have pulled it off, because that was the only reason why this came together so well. I have to make sure people realize that making a film for 28 grand is not easy. And again, it depends. If you're a new filmmaker and you think you can just pull a feature film out of your butt for 10 grand or something like that, it might be possible, but look at the script. Make sure if it's one location, you got minimal actors, 3 or 4 or 5 actors, it's possible. But, we had a cast of 20 some odd people, and we had to shoot in multiple locations and a bit of a drive for some of them. But yeah, I mean, I think that should be something that filmmakers do need to know. And when new filmmakers tell me that they're going to make a film for like 5 or 10 grand, I'm always skeptical. Like, what is in your film? Depends on what's in it. Our film, I would have probably felt more comfortable around the 50K area, but I knew we weren't going to get there, so we did everything we could to make it work for 28. And hey, I can't complain. We pulled it off. It was
I'm proud of you
that we pulled it off.
Mr. Facebook user is actually Officer Sal, the man who just beat the crap out of cancer. Got through 2 surgeries.
Congratulations, sir. I mean, obviously not congratulations for having cancer, but you know, it's amazing that you were able to accomplish getting over it. And hopefully it's gone for good, man.
The dude's a warrior, man. He's a warrior. I knew he'd pull through. I lost 2 friends this month. I think they were watching over because they knew I didn't want to lose another one. And Sal's one of the best people I know in the community, and I'm so happy for him and his family. I can't even express it because Sal's, you know, you don't know people, but you know people on Facebook, and you become real friends. And Sal is definitely one of the people that, if you ask me who's some of my favorite people on Facebook, he's definitely probably the top of the list. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for his family. Sal, awesome, man. Just amazing. And I'm glad you're here. The dude's so tough. He gets out of surgery today, Tuesday, for a second surgery. Today. Here he is. He gets out, and I saw him earlier, which I was glad and relieved to see. And the guy's already making freaking jokes. This guy. You can't knock the guy's sense of humor.
There's a real show of character right there.
He's for sure. He's a warrior. He's actually from Texas. He's
a Texas. Whereabouts in Texas? We may have seen you at some point.
I know. That's one of the reasons I wanted to go to Texas, because I wanted to visit the set and then find his patrol car and do some donuts around him.
Hey, Scotty, maybe he's an officer then. Scotty, was he the officer that pulled you over?
Maybe I don't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm telling you, 3 weeks ago. So yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago. So who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Was he somewhere by
San Antonio?
Okay. We were a little bit more north. We were in the Austin area. We filmed mostly in Bartlett. Bartlett was our main location.
Yeah, I'm real proud of him. But
thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
We're all proud of you guys. I mean, you made it seem like it was smooth from what you showed. It looked. It's not only where you had problems when you get to Texas. You're in a different country. You're not familiar with the area. I mean, that's most of you guys.
That's a huge factor. Because
we didn't have any problems at all.
No, that's a huge factor. The locations. I'd only seen pictures on from the location owners of some of these locations, and you think, okay, it looks great. Then you actually get to them, and you see what you see in the pictures, but it's the layouts are so much different than you expect, and it made it very difficult. It just we had to be creative on how to pull a lot of the scenes off, just due to the layouts being so different than what was in the script. So, I mean, it's another thing. I like to, when I scout my locations in Canada, when I do a film, I like to scout them out like couple months in advance and be there in person. When I scout them, I take video of all the with my phone, so I can really thoroughly know how I'm going to do this, whereas we were there on the spot had to figure it out.
I imagine
very difficult. It was tough. Yeah,
well, I knew you'd pull it off even no matter what it had to happen, especially after watching Disorder. I really loved that movie on no budget that you did. I mean, that had to be for the budget, not no budget really, and what the casting
food, that was it.
What it turned out to be, I love the Halloween vibe to it. I still got to say, if you guys haven't checked it out, Disorder by Steve Merlo, you can find it on YouTube. I wish I had the link, but
I don't think you can find it on because it's still in the festival run.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's still got a few festivals. It won a few awards though, so. For no budget film, I think that's pretty good, But
I loved the fact that you didn't have a big budget, and you did very effective, almost Jaws, Michael Myers sense kills with what it was. You felt it, but you didn't have to so much see it. I'm expecting a Texas Chainsaw Massacre to see it, Scotty. I'm expecting to see it.
You might be surprised. I mean, you definitely won't.
Well, I know it's not going to be what I know with you. There's going to be writing, but I'm guessing there's going to be some with the blood on the walls. Some.
Oh yeah,
you saw some blood on the walls. So I mean, I will say this: the basement stuff is the most you will see of kills, of a lot of the kills. I mean, pretty much all the other stuff is more implied. I think if you're not in that basement, you're not seeing a heck of a lot. but lots happens in that basement. I think the basement was great.
Those chainsaws were beasts. That chainsaw, oh my god, dude! Good lord,
talk about that chainsaw.
So it was a period accurate chainsaw. I think it was from 1964. It still worked. Basically,
the chainsaw was from 56.
56. Okay. So I can tell you this: an engineer designed that, not a lumberjack. So, because a year or two later, when they actually brought him out, they took out like all these different parts. Like they dropped like 20, almost 30 pounds on like the model like the next year. But basically, I was carrying around a small motorbike engine for a fair bit of the shoot. So like my forearms actually got quite nice. Oh, speaking of a little bit of blood, they're actually. Steve was saying in the original film, there is a scene where there is a little bit of blood where they actually cut, where they actually cut Sally's, Marilyn Burns' a finger. Well, my forearm, I don't know if you can see it, but both forearms in two different sets, the blood was so sticky, my arm would go against the wall and push myself off in this one stunt scene, and do it once. I'm like, okay, that kind of stinged a little bit. We did it again. And so afterwards I go, I don't think all that's fake. So I actually scraped myself pretty good. It healed up pretty good though, but like I was in the shower going, oh damn. so there's a little bit of real blood in that actual movie, but but carrying that chainsaw, man, wow. It was a lot of fun. And
Scotty went to the realism.
Yeah. When I was trying to work out and get in shape for this movie, I worked out completely the wrong muscle groups. Like I didn't even think about holding that near to my body. Like I was doing like curls and stuff like this. So I'm fine with this. But once up against my body, I'm like, I made a horrible mistake. But I got used to it after a while. Actually, overall, other than this old pair of shoes that I wore, I had no aches or pains or anything like that. So I actually felt pretty damn good. Yeah. So I worked hard for it. And I hope it shows, because the chainsaw was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. Like I'm thinking, okay, like 40, 50 pounds maybe, but just the center of gravity, the way it balanced. So I'm a big guy. I have about 20 plus, actually probably about 25 years of theater experience. So I'm a big guy. I weigh about 370 pounds. But I've studied movement classes and all stuff. So I really hope that the movement with the chainsaw really comes across on camera, because there was a few times where I'm like, I can do that better. So if we had time, we redid the take. So
we didn't have a lot of times.
No, we didn't.
That was one thing we didn't have, especially after losing an entire day of filming due to bad weather. Not just bad weather, like life-threatening weather, basically. So that made it even tougher.
And actually, the day that we flew out, Steve and I are sitting in Seattle, and I get a text saying, hey, there was a tornado about like a county over where you guys were filming. I'm like, oh damn. So and apparently Austin Airport actually either had canceled or delayed flights, but we flew out about, I think it was like 6:10 in the morning. Like it was 6:10 in Austin, and it's like I don't know, 5-6 hours later, they're like, there was a tornado where you guys were filming. We're like, oh wow. So yeah.
So you'd had a little Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Wizard of Oz, you just
exactly. Yeah.
That's what a professional does, Steve. We're not cutting scenes. We're just adding to it. We're doing tornadoes.
Yeah, actually, one of our actors, William Instone, who played Rex in the movie, he was quite active on Facebook that day, because he lives in right where those tornadoes were going through, and almost destroyed his home and everything like that. So I was glad to hear that he ended up being okay, and no damage done. But some others in his neighborhood were not so lucky. So it was bad. It was really bad. We just got out right in the nick of time, by the sounds of it. Crazy weather in Texas. Crazy weather.
And then a week before, there was a really bad winter storm, like the week before we flew in. And there was, so we, other than a couple rainy nights in Wharton, we lucked out. It could have been a lot worse. So, but
could have been a lot worse. But we did have some bad weather when we had to cancel an entire day of filming because the weather was, at first it looked like okay, it's going to rain, but then it was like really cold winds and stuff like that, and it was hypothermia type weather, so we had to cancel that. I didn't want to cancel it, but the last thing I'm going to do is make people film when it's their lives are at risk. So we had some other cold days and we powered through the very first day was probably actually the coldest day that we filmed all around.
When we left for the location, now again this is in Celsius. Sorry about you guys. So it was about -6, and it hit to high teens. So that's like I don't know, like 30 degrees to like 70 degrees, like down like for like Fahrenheit. And I'm from Canada. I'm not used to that cold, man. So
Sal said it was bipolar weather. He's Facebook user. Yeah, we had some of that here in Missouri too. We had it was snowed a couple weeks ago, and then it's beautiful, and
it's weird.
But it's kind of always like that around here. It's the middle part of America, and it gets just some crazy weather. We get obviously I'm by Kansas. Maybe if that tornado had, you would have blown your set over to us and could have filmed there.
There you go.
But so we've got a lot of people that are really proud of you guys.
Thank you. Be proud of the whole cast and crew because, man, I definitely can't take credit for this film. That's for sure. Because if we didn't make it, it's my fault. And we it would not have been good. But the whole cast and crew really rallied together to make this possible. And I gotta thank them all from the bottom of my heart for really pushing to get this shot in 9 days, a feature film shot in 9 days. I just can't believe we actually did it. I thought we were, it really felt like the impossible, but and I'm not going to say it came out perfect, because there's definitely probably a good dozen shots that I really wanted to get, but we couldn't due to time. But at the end of the day, those were shots I wanted to get, not shots I needed to get. So I have to look at it that way, and make sure I know that yes, the story is still intact, which is the most important thing. And the fact is that the shots that we did get are great, and the acting is great, and again, just a fantastic crew. And I just can't thank them enough for all the hard work that they did to make this movie possible, because it very well could have not been possible. Like I said, I was pretty down the day before shooting. And then after getting through that first day, even though it didn't go smoothly, but we made it through, I felt like we're going to pull this off. And we did. We did. It was not perfect, but we made it.
I don't think failure was allowed in your book, Steve. I've talked to you.
No way.
You didn't have to go to Texas. You could have raised the money and done something different. You said that, but if you're doing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, you're doing it in Texas. That's your goal. You hit your goal. You went through with it.
It was a risk, though. At the same time, it was a risk. It was a risk I wanted to take. And I'm not known as a gambler. I'm really not. My wife will tell you that. I'm like, I watch these shows like Deal or No Deal, and like take the first deal that they give you. I'm that kind of guy. Hey, $12,000, I'll take that. So I mean, I'm not really a gambler, but this felt like probably the biggest gamble I've ever taken to shoot this movie in Texas, and I'm glad we pulled it off because, man, I wouldn't want to ever have to go back to the backers and everybody that supported the movie saying, "Oh, we didn't finish the film." That would have sucked. That would have sucked to have to do and say, "Oh, we need more money. Give us more money to make this to make it possible." But even still, I don't think that would have ever happened. I mean, at worst case scenario, we would have made a short film. I'm glad it's not a short film. It's probably a shorter film than what we wanted, because we did cut at least one scene out from the script and changed a few of the other ones to make them a little shorter. But at the same time, we're still looking like this movie's going to be over an hour at least, probably an hour and 20 minutes would be my guess. Always hard to tell, but that would be my guess. And so I mean, that would have been the worst case scenario. I mean, I wouldn't have, after coming home from Texas, and I wouldn't have got to that point where I say, well, we didn't make the film. We only made parts of it. That was never an option. Because I mean, it's such a risk to come back and not have money to make the rest of this movie, and you only have part of the movie to show. That's just that was never an option. So no matter how bad things were going to get, we were going to make sure we had a full story from beginning, middle, and end. Just was it going to be the full story in the script? Not quite, but pretty much there.
Well, you're the type of guy, from what I've known you from, and me and you've talked off camera and stuff like that, and you took a lot on your shoulders. I mean, there's a lot on your shoulders when you're doing something like this. You got people who have invested, are counting on you to do the best you can. You got cast and crew, you got all these people counting on you. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you're like, let's go to Texas. And it wasn't an easy feat. And like Anthony was saying, 9 days, that's impressive. Because when you film, it was something I never thought of, but I was listening to other filmmakers, and I'm always trying to absorb things. When you're filming outside, it's not that easy because you never know what the weather's going to do, like you were saying. So filming in 9 days, dealing with the weather. It's one thing if you're inside a house. I mean, luckily you had the basement. I don't know how we
had the other interior stuff we did as well. So
right.
I feel like it was about half and half overall. I feel like it was about half and half inside, half outside. So not too bad, but at the same time, we had other factors against us too. I mean, the majority of where we were shooting was in abandoned locations out in the middle of nowhere with no power. So generators were our best friend.
Gas prices weren't.
Yeah, well, generators aren't usually the best friend of a sound guy, but we made sure we kept them far enough away and all that kind of stuff. And again, we just did the best we could with what we had, and overall, I think. I mean, I'm thankful we had generators, because we wouldn't have been able to make it without generators. That's for sure. But when we shot in the basement, we're like, well, we're definitely going to have power here, and we did. But there was other factors. That basement was tough to film in, and even the construction of it wasn't quite done on time. We had to wait our first day for the guy to finish. So that set us back a little bit too, but thankfully we were able to get through the scenes pretty quickly. And
like you said, scouting the area is so tough when you're trying to set up. I mean, it's not like you had all the time in the world. It's like, all right, I'm a few hours away. Even if it was a few hours away, you could go for weekends or whatever and get everything prepped up. You flew in from Canada. There's no coming back and forth. It's a one-shot deal. You guys get there and you got to get it done. And it's impressive what you had to go through to get it done, and I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. How cool was it, though? I know you probably never really thought you'd see the gas station. You'd see all these iconic places of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I wish I got to see them. I only really got to see the gas station. There you go. Yeah.
Well, you've seen Vinny's gas station. I'll send Scotty. I'll send you some pictures of Vinny Cucurati, he does these dios. He did like the Myers house and stuff. He did some of the Texas Chainsaw Man. I'll send you some pictures. That dude's got some fire skills.
The only other Texas Chainsaw Massacre location I had the pleasure of seeing was the remake house from the 2003-2006 films. We pretty much drove by that. We drove by that house every day that we shot in Bartlett, because it's in Granger, which is just one town over.
There it is.
And so we would drive by. Yeah, hey, there's the remake house. Yeah, there it is again. There it is again. So we got to see that one pretty. I never went up close to it. I've heard stories that the owners of that house don't like people going near it.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. So you see it from the highway, and it's there it is, and
You can understand that too, though. I mean, you kind of get it, because I mean, I could see at first it wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah,
I could see your comment, Rick. I see some. I missed some because I'm listening too, and then when I'm doing this, let's see if we got some questions in here so I can, you guys can answer any.
Yeah, I have to go pretty soon too, so I gotta go in 5 minutes. So if there's any questions for me, I gotta answer them now.
Just use Grandpa's generator. Anyone see your comments? Yes, Rick, we see your comments. Cheetah sees your comments. John, can you see comments? It's hard when I'm looking at 10 different screens here. Because let me when you're done, since if Scotty wants to stick around for a few minutes, we'll run the trailer and everything. But you guys get some questions. We're gonna run the trailer. And let's run the trailer and get those questions ready for Steve.
And the official trailer is going to drop, I'm going to say May 1st.
I want to be playing that Bucala in May.
Official trailer. Teaser. It'll be a teaser.
Bucala in May. I want that up on a big screen. And then hopefully you got even a longer trailer come August at Phantasm.
Yeah, probably by August, I think we'll have a longer, like a 2-minute full-length trailer. The teaser will be about a minute-ish. I've already done a first cut on it and got some good feedback on it already. So, yeah, teaser is definitely coming for May 1st.
I have no doubt the trailer is going to be fire too. I mean, it's coming from Steve Merlo. It's going to be good.
All right, let's one thing I cut well is trailers.
Is this really the place? Come on, Jimmy. It'll be fun. Something's off here.
Bob, stay out of there! You're crazy!
We're all crazy. Everybody.
I don't know why it's doing that on my screen now, but sorry. But it's a great trailer. And it did not only had mono this time, it just came in like crap. But it's a really cool trailer. Guys, you can find the trailer on YouTube, and it's amazing. You can also find it, I believe, on that Indiegogo campaign that I heard has 2 days left.
Yes, it should. Yeah, I think it only has 2 days left. I've been trying to get it set so it'll shut down at midnight Pacific time on March 31st, but Indiegogo is kind of weird with that. They're like, they have to get back to me. You never know, it might be up a little bit longer. We'll see. But it's supposed to be done by then.
And this is where you can get physical copies and buy them, guys. I got a feeling it's a good investment just to buy those DVDs. I mean, you get those DVDs, you're gonna have the physical copy, and once they're gone, they're going to be harder to get. It's just like the Never Hike Alone movie. And I believe this movie's going to be intense. I believe this movie's going to be amazing. I think a lot of people know it's going to be amazing. Like Sarah Agnes Church was saying, every time she talked about Scotty, big Scotty. And like her dad said, Scotty was the nicest guy, like the sweetest preacher guy. You wouldn't imagine him hurting a fly. And then he'd come down those stairs as Leatherface. He was a scary man. Very scary, they said.
No,
But,
Sarah and her dad were just absolute sweethearts. Yeah. No, she said, "Hey, like, can I get your photo?" It's can you take a photo with me? I'm like, absolutely. Like, why not? Right? Yeah. Because the fact, again, because like it's people like her, and everyone that's showed any kind of support, like it just made it so much more real. Because we actually get to meet these people. Thomas came in for a couple days. Sweet guy. I've talked to him a few times online. I know he's in the chat. So hey, Thomas.
Hey, man.
But no, it was just so great. Yeah.
I'm trying to, like, Rick, I'm trying to see what your comments are. I got a lot of them, and I need a co-host that can pull up things for me, because I'm trying to see your question. Anthony Jordan, I want to get to you. Fangoria, how cool is that?
Hey, Fangoria fans, Joe.
Oh.
Hey, Joe.
Let's see. I'm going through them so we can see them. Scott, we should show the trailer of the cruise ship.
There you go.
That is my wife, actually. Selena. Yeah, she. I talked to her every day when I was down there. She, if it wasn't for the fact for some other stuff that was going on, she would have came down and helped out too. But Selena, love of my life, and absolutely my biggest fan. So thank you, honey. I know we should. I should pop that up on my laptop or something. Hey, if my brother-in-law can show Titanic and have people gather around on a cruise ship, I'm sure we can show that.
This guy right here, Patrick, the Cheetah Will View, he's got, he's always picking on me for my Halloween. He knows it's my favorite movie. And here I am with Leatherface himself, and he's trying to put me on the spot after he went. I won't answer it while I got a guest on. I'm like,
well, I don't know.
Scotty's a big dude.
I don't know who would win, but you can't run as fast as Michael Myers can walk. So yeah,
he's fast on his feet. He's light on his feet. You just never know. All right, Rick, you're asking what prize? I don't know. Let me look up. Can you see my comments? It's official. Trailer drops the day before his birthday. Anthony Jordan, movies and more. Awesome dude. Rick, I'm looking. Anyone see your comments? I don't ask your question again, Rick. I'm looking for it. Okay, I want to give you a chance. I don't know what your prize is. Wait for me to take it, Steve. Oh, did he have a prize or something? Oh, the perk prize he's talking about.
That's right. He's giving it to you.
Oh, that's right. I
remember that.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And it was a while back, so I totally forgot about it. What was it, like 50K and something else?
Yeah, 50K. Yeah, you wouldn't.
I'm sorry, Rick. I was reading it, and I'm like, it took me a second. It's been. I know Steve's probably had a zillion things going on. I know I've had a zillion things going on, and it was really nice gesture, Rick. And I told you, Rick, I want you to keep it, dude. I Of course I'd take it, but dude, I want you to have it. That's what it's about. Is you want it, man.
Everybody that wins prizes from our campaign wants to give their prizes to other people. This is nice.
But that shows a lot in the community that's how people are, and you got to respect it too. I get it. I'm kind of the same way. If I won something, I'd be like, let me give it to this person who could use it. We've got a trailer date is being asked by Fabletown.
Yeah, I'm gonna say May 1st. That you never know, that may change, but I'm pretty confident that we'll have a official teaser by May 1st, and that's our lead actor Jordan O'Neill, by the way, Fabletown.
As long as
he's our number one. He's our number. Scotty's only number two. Jordan played our protagonist, Jimmy.
Hey, Jordan,
did a fantastic job, by the way. But yes, May 1st. We're going to drop the trailer May 1st unless something bad happens. I can't really see that happening considering, I already cut something together and it got pretty much approved by Charlie, our DP. So now we just have to edit the sound and the color on it and it'll be ready. and I want it to be ready fairly quick because I'm gonna have a lot of other stuff I need to start doing. I'm gonna try my darndest to start fulfilling some of the easier perks, like the posters and the T-shirts. I want to be able to fulfill those by the summer if I can. So Blu-rays and DVDs and all that stuff are going to be after the film is completed, obviously, because they can't be made until the film is completed. But some of those ones I want to try to get out there as fast as I possibly can, because that's important to me. Getting our backers their perks is something we budgeted for as well, which is why we had a $28,000 budget rather than a $35,000 budget. We left a good $7,000 in there for our backers, for the perks for our backers. So yeah, so I want to get on that, and I think with the way that the teaser's looking already, I think that'll help us get there. So
as long as the teaser's ready by May 14th, the weekend
it will be.
I'm ready to roll that thing.
I can't see it not, but I mean, sometimes things happen, but and I'll let you know if anything happens. But I see no reason why we won't have it ready by May 1st.
You guys see that soda that Scotty's drinking? That's a 2-liter bottle. That's how big that dude is.
Big dude.
A 2-liter bottle of soda. He's just a monster.
It's not a small drink. I'm just huge. Yeah.
Anyways, I hate to be the bummer guy here, but I do have to get going. I had to go early. I apologize for ditching out early, but I know that you and Scotty are going to have a great chat from here on out. Mm-hmm. And Scotty, you got to tell him about the cops.
Absolutely.
I'll be watching that on the replay.
You stuck around for 45 minutes, Steve. I
know I went over time.
Yeah. I think we had so much fun. You lost track of time.
A little bit.
But hey, Steve,
thank you for having me on there, John.
Oh,
we'll be on again soon, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure, man. It's always good to talk to you, man. I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for the Sawyer Massacre. I can't wait to get to these conventions and let anybody who's doesn't know about the Sawyer Massacre know about it. That 2-liter bottle. And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of the whole cast and everything you told me they had to battle through. Just adds more to my excitement for the movie. So thank you, Steve.
And they don't hate me. They don't hate me at this point. So there you go.
They don't tell you they hate you at this point.
Maybe they do, but hey, Jordan's in the chat saying hi, and
Yeah, don't worry.
Scotty and I are still on speaking terms, obviously. So,
there you go.
I don't think they hate me. I don't know. No. I guess I wasn't that bad to work with. Anyways,
I couldn't see
you guys. You guys have yourselves a good night, and I look forward to watching the replay and hearing some of Scotty's stories, because they'll be a hoot. All right, see you guys.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah.
All right, Steve. Take care,
Steve.
Have a good night,
Scotty. What's up, big man?
Oh, so no. Oh no. Oh yeah.
The Leatherman himself, Leatherface. I don't know. I almost want to put this on. My Leatherface mask. A little scared.
Right on.
You don't have a chainsaw with you or nothing, do you?
No. I left that at Texas. Our lovely host. She has pretty much all the props and all the perks that people have bought in her basement. I signed whatever I could actually. I wish I could share the screen with you right now, but there's a picture of the chainsaw sitting there, and the thing's a beast, right? And my signature's right on the blade, and I believe it was. Oh goodness. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm really horrible with names. So it's one of our biggest backers too. I can't remember his name now, but if you're in the chat, please shout it out. But yeah, I signed. Someone bought my costume. Someone bought 3 of 4 of the masks have been sold so far. The one has not been sold. I've signed all 4 of them. And I used to have my shoes. Basically, you get everything but like underwear and socks. So yeah. So if somebody got like my costume and a mask, they have a pretty good cosplay costume. And there was 5 screen used aprons. Signed all those. I also number them 1 through 5. And my friend John Evans, I did personalize 1 of 5 for him because he did buy one. So hopefully that one gets sent to him because it says to John. So yeah, but not much they can do about it. Yeah.
But how cool is it that, I mean, I think I heard you were a screen actor or a stage actor before. You were doing stage acting?
Mainly musical theater. I don't get a chance to do it as much anymore, but I try to do at least one major production for once a year for the last 20 plus years. I graduated in 2000. I didn't really get into the amateur theater until I graduated, so I was about 18 years old. I'm 40 years old now, so 22 years. But yeah, just trying to do something every year, just like even if it's just chorus or something like that, but like just trying to do something more and more every year. But
so
of course, the last 2 years, unfortunately, because
more of a vocalist.
Vocalist, I can do tenor. I'm really out of practice because the last show I did, literally, we wrapped the week before we did the original teaser trailer back in 2019. So I do. I love improv theater. Not the short form, but the long form. Like the long form improv theater, where like it's not really about the joke. It's about telling a story on the spot. So like it really trains your brain. Because my day job, I work customer service of some sort for the last 20 plus years, right? I work my ass off so I can do stuff like this. Yeah, so.
You know what? Let me adjust this so we can get a little more Leatherface up there. There you go.
There you go. So I will throw this out there. I'm not a big horror nerd. I've gotten more into it over the last years because my wife has really gotten me into it, and I love her to pieces. But I will admit, when Steve got, so actually, I'll tell you guys the story real quick how I got involved with this. So, a mutual friend of ours named John Van Dyke. I was doing a show with him. We were doing the stage version of the the Who. They have the rock opera of Tommy. So we're doing that.
Yeah.
And so John said, "Hey, what are you doing once this project's wrapped?" I said, "Honestly, nothing. Like this weekend is pretty much it. Probably like take off to like the spring because we finished in beginning of September of 2019." And so he said, "Hey, I got this guy that's looking for someone for a day shoot. Are you interested?" I said, "Sure." So he gives me a number. So we wrap the show. I call him like a day or two after we wrap, and I said, "Hey, Steve, this is Scott. I understand you're looking for someone." He says, "Yeah, I'm working on this fan film project. Are you familiar with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?" And I said, "Yes, but I've never seen a single movie." So, because at the time I didn't really get into horror, right? Like slasher, like I thought slasher films were like slasher films, and they're not, right? But in my brain at the time, right? So I said, "Hey, I'm looking for basically a big dude to play Leatherface." I'm like, "Okay, all right. So where and when?" So from where I live was about a 3-hour drive north. So Steve and I live about an hour apart. In a place called the Okanagan Valley. I live in a place called Penticton. He lives in a place called Kelowna. So any Stargate fans out there, the planet of Kelowna, that's where they got the name. Yeah, so.
Little learning, some education. Yeah. We all need education.
So I lost some light here. So I show up, and he said, "Okay, well, this is what we have for the shoot." Like he sent me a script earlier on and whatnot, so we got that taken care of. And then so we do this. I'm thinking, okay, just like a day shoot, not much of it. And so we cut the trailers. It comes out, I think in January or maybe just before Christmas. I can't remember now. But he calls me, and of course 2020 happens for everyone else. Things shut down in March, and I'm off work for about a week or so. And I get a call from Steve. He says, "Hey, Scott, we're making the movie. Are you, I would like you to play Leatherface. We just don't know when, but we're shooting in Texas." I said, "I'm in." So, of course, like everyone else, they thought it was going to be like a few months back to normal. No, so just delay, but not much we can do about it, right? So I got to know all these people online, and we reshot parts of the trailer just over a year ago. So I met up with Steve here, and we shot some stuff that actually showed up in that trailer that you just saw. So anyone that has not viewed it, the audio isn't great for some reason. Like when you try to do it through like the streaming, but look us up. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I'm in a basement alone with Steve and our camera guy Josh. That's it. And so I do a couple things. I'm covering the fake blood and whatnot. And we got access to this lovely lady's basement that we kind of destroyed. We tried our best to clean it up, but we could never get that fake blood out of the concrete. Felt really bad about that. But a day or two before was that really bad snowstorm in and around Texas. And everyone, I don't remember where they shot it, but that was the day of like the first big snowstorm. So they all drove in, and like everyone got home safely, thank goodness. Then we cut that up, and then we're thinking, okay, well, later. So finally, it was supposed to be September, or we were shooting for like, I think like April of 21, and then September of 21, and finally, all right, we'll do it in March of 2022. Cool. So happy about that. So, and I get down there, and now I met Nika, who plays one of the main characters. She lives about an hour and a half from where I live too. So you see in the film there, or so you see in the trailer. So Nika and myself are the only two people from the original trailer that are actually in this film. And so I'm behind her, and my arms, like they're pretty big, right? And she weighs maybe 105, 110 pounds or so, and she's like 5'2". So
size of your arm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my wife, when she saw that original trailer, she said, cool, but I can tell that that's your arm, right? So it creeped her out, but she says, this is going to be good. I said, I know, right? So got to know Nika. She was 16 at the time. She's going to be 19 pretty soon. And it was really sweet because I got to meet this young lady. Then I had to like manhandle her with like dirty, bloody hands. So, and so we all finally meet up down in Texas. And I met people online like this or talked to them and whatnot, but never actually met anybody. But as soon as we like pretty much all got together, we all just bonded so fast. So about 9 of us were staying at the same house. Cody Willis, who was our props master, was my roomie for about 2 weeks, and like just like right away, just like friend for life, right? So yeah, but yeah, so we got to the film. Yeah. Any other questions for me?
I mean, you talk to people enough online, like even like chats like this, and you have these visual chats. You almost know right away if you're going to get along with somebody and be friends and have. And then when you run into each other, it's almost like you already know each other because you have these. That's what's great about technology, especially with the last couple of years we've had. You know, I mean,
exactly. Like I was thinking because like I remember like back in the 90s when I was in school, like video phones, right? Yeah, but someone had to have another video phone. Now it fits in your pocket, right? Like like you have this device that you can connect to anyone around the world. Like made really good friends with a guy named John Evans. He's in Hawaii. I talked to people down in Texas for the film. I talked to somebody, this was over a year from Germany. I'm like, this is incredible. The fact that this little, relatively, like, independent movie is so much more accessible now because I remember wanting to get into it when I graduated high school, but I know how to do it. Like, the technology within it, the camcorders are, like, that big, you got 20 minutes of, like, film. And, like, now you can, now they made it look great, but you can do a movie on your phone. Like, it is insane.
The quality is impressive. Even on like, the regular phones, it's impressive how great the technology is. It's so much you can do now, like you're saying. I mean, there's just so much you can do. Like I have a friend, some of my good friends are like UK. We'll hang out. I even talked to them today. We'll just hop in and have a group chat with a few other friends, and we'll just sit there and shoot the shit. And it's great because I don't have to kick them out of my house. I can just be like, I gotta go.
Yep. It was actually really cool because even though my wife couldn't come down, I was able to talk to her like every night, and it was a nice thing because like there's one thing talking on the phone, but seeing your loved ones is a heck of a lot better than just hearing a voice, right? Because like you can get distracted, but when you actually have that eye contact, but again, thanks to everyone for joining, and if you're just hearing about this now, great. If you've heard about this from years ago and you've shared in any way, like thank you. Like it means so much to us.
And all the links are in the description for the Sawyer Massacre on Facebook and YouTube. And what do you say we run that trailer one more time too? Get it to play right here. I mean the audio thing, but hey.
So about 90% of the trailer.
Is this really the place?
All right, I'll let you finish talking.
Okay, so about 90% of the trailer was shot in somewhere outside of Austin. I can't remember where they shot because I wasn't there. And me, Steve, and Josh in a basement, an hour away from where I live. And there's a couple clips with you'll see Nika. She's the small blonde with the curly blonde hair.
Yep.
That was from the original show. Yeah, and I think there's one other clip in there from another teaser that Steve shot like 5 years ago, but it's like a blanking deal. Yeah, so yeah, let's watch it. Yeah.
Well, I'm just making sure I got it set up this time right, where it's not looking like it probably will though. Yeah. Technology's great. I'm not at it,
Is this really the place? Come on, Jimmy, it'll be fun. Something's off here.
Bob, stand there! You're crazy!
We're all crazy. Everybody.
So 2 days
again,
go. 2 days.
So the trailer is still up there. I urge you guys to seek it out because unfortunately the actual audio is coming. So at the end there, you hear that?
Is that? Oh, we're watching another trailer. I think that was the third channel trailer.
I'm like that sounds familiar. Anyways, so at the end there, the voices says we're all crazy. Now, fans of Texas Chainsaw, that is the actor John Dugan who played Grandpa in the original film. He somehow we got a hold of him. Now big spoiler, he does not appear in our film. But the fact that we got a hold of him and actually do the line for our trailer, now would have been great somehow to get him up to actually film, but just like different things. We also had a couple other actors that were interested, but unfortunately because of SAG issues and contract issues, unfortunately they weren't able to actually to appear in our film. But the idea that they saw our script and they're like, yeah, we'll check it out. Like, that is amazing to us, right? So, and the fact that we were filming where we were staying was 15 minutes away from the original like gas station, right? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But everyone that I worked with on this entire film, it was just so much fun. Like learning stuff from them, hearing the experience they had, because this is the first film project I've done in 20 years. Like I did some stuff in high school, but I don't really count that. But other than theater, Alicia Graham, who had never done any kind of film or any kind of theater, came in and just knocked it out of the park. So her and I were probably not really the least advantage, but but we have like probably the least like camera experience. But she just knocked it out of the park, and her performance was wow. So I want to tell you guys every single scene in this movie, but of course you gotta wait. But yeah, just like everyone's performance in this entire film was just absolutely amazing.
Well, the level of talent that you work with has to elevate you too. You know,
yes, yeah.
I mean, you can only feed off of how good the other actor is. I find, you know, with a lot of it, if the actors say stale, and you're trying, even if you're a good actor, it can be hard. But when you got two people feeding off people naturally, it just good.
It's like the whole thing where, like, I'm sorry, I can't remember all my terms, but basically it's like if you're doing a scene, well, like again, this goes back to my theater experience. If you're doing a scene and the actor that you're playing off of doesn't necessarily give you the energy that you feel that is deserved in the scene, that's not an excuse. You still give it your all.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
And everybody in this entire film gave it their all, and it was just so much fun to do. But like there was nobody that was like, okay, oh, we have to work with them today. Absolutely not. Everyone got along. Everyone on the crew. There was like a few moments where like there was frustration, but it was never anger, right? Like I remember yelling at Steve one time. I said, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So because I learned scripts through theater, through dialogue and constant rehearsal. But this was very new to me because like Steve's okay, you go in here and you have to hit this person, this person, this person. I'm like, can we break this down first? Because
it was
you gotta know
a totally different way of doing something. It was a new experience for you, and having somebody really to help you grow as an actor too. I'm sure it meant a lot. And that was one question I wanted to ask you, since you even said you really weren't a horror fan, and thank God for your girlfrend who is.
Yeah. My wife. Yeah.
I think she's a good woman. Any horror woman is a good woman. She's teaching you right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what did you do since you knew about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? You knew probably, okay, I know who Leatherface is. Did you study the original 74 film and his movements as Leatherface? Was that what process did you go through to play Leatherface?
So from John's request, because not John, Steve's request to me was he wanted to basically emulate, not copy, but emulate the original film, because that was our basis, because this takes place about 6+ years before the original film. I may be wrong. I keep getting the dates wrong, but
well, I know it's a prequel, but it's somewhere like that. That's what Steve said.
So the best way I can describe it is now, or like going back to it. So I watched Gunnar Hansen's original performance, and I tried to emulate a few things, but hold on, let me find his name. A guy that literally just kind of showed up on set one day. His name is Ryan Strickland. Another friend for life. He just kind of showed up on set one day. He says, "Hey, Scott." Like, I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. I'm like, how long have I known this guy? Like, I've known him for like 10 minutes, and he's like my best friend, kind of thing, right? Anyway, so he let me play around with like the original model, not the original Chainsaw, but the original model from the actual movie. So he pointed out certain things that I completely missed. So how Gunnar would do this thing where like he would bring up the saw, but instead of like when he was running, like instead of his shoulders going down, they would like reset up.
Yeah,
and it was very, very difficult with that chainsaw, but I always kind of kept that in mind. And how he does this not really a spastic move, but like it's almost like a double take, where like he's like I'm gonna go over here, no, and then like he second guesses himself.
It's
And I
almost
really
like
hope
confusion. Like he's
Sorry?
confused. Like kind of he's confused.
Like he's not sure. So throughout the movie, now I do wear multiple masks, and Steve explained to me that each mask had like a different persona. So Leatherface would take on what he perceived that persona to be. So I can't tell you all the personas because that's a spoiler, right?
Oh,
the original,
yeah. The original had that pretty lady, and
and I always call it the pretty lady one, like the mom mask, because at that time he's being the provider, like he made food for everybody. So I always call it the mom mask. Now, the original mask, or the mask you actually see me in initially, I call that like the leather face because it's the thinnest one we have. It looks older, so like it has like no like moisture left in it. The other ones have like a thickness to them, like it's just been peeled off. So and that was my absolute favorite mask. Now Sergio did a fantastic job on like the third mask, but that first mask, because it was the first one I tried on like over a year ago, and I'm like, yes, like I actually get this. Like, and like it was the only mask I could really express with my eyes because they were so wide.
Oh.
Now, so I was trying to figure out different ways because we had to get the other masks made, and I never saw them until like day 2 of shooting. So, so like they show up, I'm like, wow, this got even more real, right? So, but like just like certain things where like Ryan pointed out the scenes, but I kind of figured it out because I tried to rewatch some scenes where he takes on a persona, but he still has that second guess, like almost like a double take.
Yeah.
But once he is committed to how he's going to take out a victim, he doesn't stop.
No.
Yeah. So there is a scene where I'm taking someone's face off, right? And
Leatherface, I don't believe it. Not.
Yeah. and like originally, like I'm trying to look around for the actual tool, and then I settle on this straight razor, and it was a real straight razor. It actually was sharp, and we did that Texas switch thing where like I kind of drop it out of frame, flip it over so the blade's facing me, right? So the actor who was the victim, I don't want to say who it is, but like he was very, very nervous. I said, hey, I get it, because it took a long time to set that shot because it was because he had like a latex thing where you could actually pull away his face. And I said, okay, I have 2 rules whenever I do something physical like that. I said, 1, safety. If anyone's going to get hurt for this, is me. And 2, it's going to look good. Right? So we did 2 different takes. The second take was just amazing. So finally, like I'm pulling back the gag flap, and finally I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I really pull at it, and he just responded so well. And he's like, "Cut, we got it." So yeah, but like when you're able to like interact with like people doing that, where I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for a while. I'm just going to go for it. Like, not make it look like I'm trying to rip it off or something like that, but like, I'm like, you know what would it actually look like? So, so safety was always forefront with me because I'm physically so much bigger than the majority of the cast.
And you could hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. I got hurt a little bit, nothing major, but I'm like, I would rather be the one taking the bumps,
right,
than me squeeze somebody and like really hurt them.
That's not mentality where you're taking care of the person you're working with and doing work with.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually channel my inner Kane in this movie because the whole like mask thing, right? So, and there's a scene where I do a chokehold. I can't slam them down, but I put them against the wall. So yeah.
Here's a question for you, without being a spoiler. Since there's, I mean, obviously, with Leatherface, you're gonna have different masks or faces, really. Was that cool? Like, without, obviously you can't get into spoilers, but obviously you're gonna have different faces than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did that kind of help where you were able to kind of take what they did in the original one, but also use your own take on Leatherface and your own way of expressing the personality of each mask?
Yeah, because there was the 4 masks. So like the original one, like I called like the original like Leatherface, because that was just like, okay, that was like not the generic, but that was like the I must hunt kind of thing, right? Yeah. There's one where, without giving it away, there's one that a character is the character has confidence. So there's movements that I do where it's like it's a little more deliberate. Like again, I really hope this shows up. Not really second guessing, but but there's a mask I wear before, so there's more and more confidence. And then there's the I'm going to call it the caretaker mask, where I'm more
nurturing.
More like nurturing, yeah. And so like that's more like the mother mask kind of thing, right? But it's like there's like certain things because again, if I tell who it is, it's going to give away.
Yeah, you don't want to give away. But that's got to be cool. I mean, because Leatherface doesn't talk, so everything you do when you switch masks, you got to take on a multiple personality type deal.
I actually caught myself because one, I was getting tired. It was the last day of shooting, and it was literally the last day of shooting, and we're doing this big scene with about 5 or 6 of us around the table, and I'm trying to react, and they're getting coverage everywhere, and I'm getting hot and tired because I'm staying this whole time. I got the mask on, and I'm having to do the most physical movements, but everyone did a fantastic performance, and I'm just trying to play off of them and repeat the moves because with the coverage, if I'm walking in behind the shot, I want to make sure I'm back there. So it was kind of tricking the brain because, again, learning the script, because we didn't have a chance to rehearse. I could read stage direction until I fall asleep, but until I'm actually in the space, I don't know, right? So I'm just constantly trying to think what I'm doing. And so like the very, very last day, I realized, oh crap, there's a few things I'm not doing the back and forth hesitation kind of thing. But then I realized, oh wait, that's not the character I'm playing right now. Like that's not the persona I have. And I'm like, holy cow, was that just like a coincidence or was that serendipitous? Like what was that about, right? So it was like an aha moment, right? Of discovery of like my performance. And then the second to last scene was the last scene shot. And I don't want to spoil it, but it was probably the most physical. And they got it in one, and thank goodness. So, but yeah,
you didn't have to do reshoots on that one, huh?
No,
you didn't want to take 4 or 5.
No, but it was so funny because like I have a reputation of being like a nice guy. Like I was doing Newsies, and I was supposed to play this guy that's supposed to beat up kids, and a friend of mine comes up, for like 15 years. She says, "Scott, that was great, but you're not scary." I'm like, "Oh God, okay, thanks." So, with Sarah's dad, I can't remember his name, but like a lot of people said on set, like when I was on. Now, like, of course, in between takes, I had to relax, right, because like you can't stay that intense. Also, I was just like, I'm like, okay, if I do this, I'm just gonna get like a headache, right? Yeah. So, but when the camera was on, I was like, okay, this is my goal. But people were like, dude, that was scary. I'm like, thank you.
I heard you were intense. Like I said, Sarah and her father were like, especially her father was like, he was nicest guy, like your friend was saying, he's not scary. But when you got into Leatherface, I mean, that's what's great. Did that make you love like horror almost? I mean, obviously playing Leatherface is going to make you love horror more. But the fact of being in it and feeling like you weren't Scotty, you're Leatherface, and being able to I mean, it's almost a character study. I'm guessing from what playing Leatherface, because he doesn't talk. You're expressing multiple personalities, and you get to scare people in a different way that people don't expect. Like Sarah and her father said, Scotty was a nice guy, but he's like, when Scotty came downstairs, it was scary. It was scary. And that says a lot. I mean, and he wasn't joking. He wasn't joking either. It wasn't like he was just trying to be nice about it. Even she said in her own way, hey.
that was a huge compliment, because like I'm thinking, okay, like because again I had this thing like, oh Scott, like you're a nice guy, but like they're like, no, that was frightening. I'm like, wow, that's like a like an ego stroke kind of thing, but not really to like that extreme. We were like, okay, I think I'm getting this right, because again I was nervous about it, right? But when people said like that was terrifying, like there's a couple kills in the movie where like, oh dude, I'm like, yeah, well so but everyone I worked with was just fantastic. But the whole character study thing, where again going back to the theater roots, where you rehearse in the space, and usually it's just like literally like a workshop, and you work with the same group of people, you have it, but when you actually can get into the actual space, and you have the sets around you, you have a costume, it becomes more and more real. And a lot of actors, they'll probably say the same thing, where like it becomes more, not easier, but more natural. Because like when you have like a 370-pound guy that's 6'5" running after you with like a chainsaw, of course hopefully you're going to be concerned at the least, right?
A little bit.
So so there is a scene where I'm doing this. Okay, I don't want to spoil anything, but no, there was moments of frustration, but never just like, oh, I hate you too. Like there was never that. Like there was like moments of frustration where like, okay, we have to get this shot, and just like the pressure's on us. But it went away as soon as everything was done. But there was one scene where I was shooting was super, super physical, and it was towards the end of the shoot, and I'm just tired. And the whole time, because I can't really talk in the mask, well, also I don't need dialogue too, right? I just scream in this mask, because I'm just like, it's almost over, like this shot's almost over, right? And everyone's like, oh damn.
Well, I mean, the fact that I bet you that helped with musical theater, being able to get that intense scream.
Really, really low. Yeah. And it's like this guttural, like, and it vibrated my mask, and like it helped me too, right?
I was gonna ask.
Sound guy Ben, and our sound guy Ben's like, can I have a couple of like wild lines, like basically like clean takes of that, because there was other sound going on, so I'm like, yeah. And at that moment, I was just so frustrated, because I wasn't really getting out what I wanted to do. But then I probably did about 5 or 6 really good guttural screams.
Yeah.
And then we did the scene again. I'm like, I feel better, and it was a better shot because I felt better because I got it out, right. Like it's the thing with when you train in martial arts, how people will do like they'll yell during a hit. Yeah. If you train that way, it's part of your follow through. Now, this is really martial arts, but like there's certain things you do where you have to hear that vocal thing for the follow through, and it felt so much better. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, your buddy. Because you can't see it, it's Facebook user. I'm guessing one of your friends, Mike Johnson, is saying, "Word, Scotty."
Yes.
Yeah. I figured you did.
Yeah.
How cool was it signing autographs?
It was pretty cool. I've done some stuff before, but it was just like, I was like, hey, can I get your autograph on like a playbill? Oh yeah, sure, kind of thing. But this one, you're like, wow, I cleaned up some of the stuff, but I try to keep it as screen use as possible. Like for the chainsaw, like I had to clean the chainsaw a little bit so I could actually sign it. And basically anything that wasn't like, now whoever bought my costume, I did have to rinse out the blood but it was permanently stained, so you can easily throw stuff on there. But again, Ryan actually helped me stain the shirt. So I'm out in the field by truck and wearing the shirt that we actually found in Bastrop. That looked perfect because I brought this old white one. I'm like, whatever, and it had like these. It was like an off-white. It had stripes on it. So I'm out there, and it might be on the behind-the-scenes stuff too on the Facebook page. But he's basically just kind of dyeing like all like the points for either like oil or blood or whatever. But because I was wearing the shirt and I'm wearing an undershirt too, it's going through the shirt. And you know what henna tattoos are? And like it kind of stains the skin for a little bit.
Yeah,
I look like a dairy cow for about a week because it's stained right through to my shirt.
Yeah, well, I think I either commented or talked on, and it kind of brings up the point, Matt Skinner, and I agree with him on what he's just saying here. Scotty, we really appreciate all the updates from Texas. It was fun. A lot. I mean, I enjoyed seeing you, and one of the things I really enjoyed seeing was I could see how excited you were. And especially after talking to Sarah, I kind of saw why you were out of breath because you, like we kind of mentioned earlier, shot a scene and you could just see the excitement you had in this whole film and what was going on every time something was happening. And we appreciate all the updates.
It's like right now I'm a little excited because other than my family, I haven't really had a chance to talk about this because the subject matter and whatnot for now I'm talking with like my friends, but not really at work or anything like that. Or people come up and they unfortunately there's that thing where people hear fan film. They think also nerdy kids that do like a Star Trek film with a cardboard set, right? But like no, this is like so I started saying independent movie. They're like, oh. So I don't know if it's just like a word association thing. So I'm really excited right now.
Used to it, the fan film thing, and then the more and I have no doubt that the Sawyer Massacre is going to be great. But you got things like Never Hike Alone, and people never saw stuff like that where the quality's that good. I don't know if you saw the new Scream Legacy. That's if you like. Well, you're not a horror fan, but your girl is. That's a new YouTube one. Well, you're now a horror fan. Now you're.
Slowly catching up, yeah.
There's some great fan films out there. Like I said, the Scream Legacy just came out the other day. I know Anthony Jordan did a review on it. And I haven't had time to do any reviews. I've been doing a lot of interviews this week. But anybody who hasn't seen Scream Legacy is a great film. I mean, that was really well done. The only complaint I had is I wish it was longer and more characters. But overall, it was like total vibe. The sound was great. The shots were great. And these people hear fan film are like, oh boy, here comes a guy with a camcorder from 1982 and shooting some lousy video cassette tape. That's not how it is anymore. These are high quality films.
I like to compare this or liken it to how the word nerd or geek from like 10, 15, 20 years ago, where like I'm a huge comedy and sci-fi geek. Like you can ask me anything about like the Star Wars movies or books. The new stuff I haven't been able to keep up on, but like I could tell that I've read over there's over 130 novels and all the comic books. I could tell you all that stuff about this. So I love how people say like, "Oh, you're a nerd for this." I'm like, "Well, you like sports. You can tell me who played for this team this year and like how many goals they got, right?"
I think that you were 6'8" and you weren't playing sports as much. You were reading you need an offensive lineman, my friend. You know?
I know. I did play rugby growing up, but I hurt my neck and back really bad, and I just never got back into it. And I was never good at softball and basketball. I just didn't like, and so I gravitated more to like theater, but again, 20 years ago, I was like, oh, theater, like, that guy's weird, right? But like, yeah, it's just like I love how nerd is not a bad thing anymore. Like it hasn't been for like you can be a horror nerd, you can be a comic book music nerd. Like I have a weird thing where I can watch a cartoon and I'm like, oh, I know that actor, right? Like I just had that ear, right? And my wife's like, who? So,
Dude, that's like me now. If somebody starts talking about horror, I'm like that kid. Oh boy, let's start talking about this, and I get in my nerd voice and be like, oh yeah, and I get this coming in and this figure. My buddy's doing this, and I just need the big pointy glasses, and I'm good to go, man. I'm ready. Get my pocket protector, and I'm embracing the role of horror nerd.
Yeah, well, it was really funny because when my wife and I met 13 years ago. We've been together for 8, and we've been married for just shy of 5. And what really did it, because she was a Stephen King fan, I was a Stephen King fan, and I was more Star Wars. She was Harry Potter, and we had different likes. But all of a sudden, I say, "Hey, check out Doctor Who." Right? And that was one of the first things that really got us like, oh. And then after that, we both shared our own fandoms.
You're in your nerdom being together.
Exactly.
You're nerdom. Star Wars, Harry Potter, Doctor Who gave us love.
So like the mainstream stuff. There's nothing like again, like there's a whole Star Trek, Star Wars kind of thing, but no, but the idea of telling a story. It doesn't matter what the genre is. If you're telling a compelling story, now again, going back to the fan film thing, like you can have a low budget, you can have not the world's greatest actors, but if you're telling a good story, there's that suspension of disbelief, like doing live theater when you do a black box where you're literally in a black studio. And everyone is in like monotone or black costumes. If you're telling a good story, you have people hooked because they have that because storytelling will never go away.
No.
Now the media yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I finally got to go see the Batman today, and I loved it. And like, who cares? It was people are like, oh, it's a superhero film. I'm like, no, it's a detective story. So I remember talking to somebody who I used to work with years ago. She grew up Jehovah's Witness. So didn't celebrate Christmas, and so we happen to be talking about classic books. I can't talk today apparently, and I said by chance, I'm like, have you ever read A Christmas Carol? She says, no, the whole Christmas thing. I said, I think you should read A Christmas Carol, and she's like, okay. So she comes back like a week or two later, and she says, yeah, that's not about Christmas. I'm like, I know. It's like a morality tale, right? Yeah. So, so like the medium's going to change. Like how they say, like people keep saying, oh, like print is dead. I'm like, no, it's not. Like if you can tell a story or convey information, people will listen. It's just finding ways to do it. Now, even just like the spoken word, that's never going to go away because that's how stories got passed down. So yeah, just like, but if you can tell. Like there's that whole thing that, oh, everyone loves to be scared. Like, yes, we do and we don't, but we like that release. So that's why comedy and horror go really, really well together. Yeah. And I love it when you can take something so over the top that it becomes funny, but still scares the crap out of you, right? So like you have the person be one of my favorite shots out of any kind of horror movie. It's that shot where usually someone's like on like a doorway or on the floor reaching towards the camera and the unseen hand pulls them back.
Yep.
I like that gets me, like, it's coming every single time because it's like that. Wait for it. Wait for now. Yeah.
Damn it, I wasn't ready.
But there's Steve didn't want to do the jump scare.
No.
And now
I'm not a big fan of that.
But there's times where it's appropriate because it's that quiet thing. You're like, is he gone? Like, is he gone? So there isn't really a jump scare, but there's a moment where it's like surprised, right? So
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if jump scares are done well, I enjoy them. Yeah. Like some people I don't enjoy them, but like for me, if it's done well and it's not overused in a film, I have no problem with it. It's always good, especially sound-wise. If it hits the mark and it does the job, and it's, like I said, not overused, it can be a lot of fun.
I'm really enjoying the Conjuring and the Annabelle series right now, because I think It's the first standalone Annabelle movie where there's a character in a closet, and you literally see the demon like right behind them. Like you see the face and the eyes, and they're going, oh no, it's out there, but it's like right there, right? And you're like, would you just do it already? so yeah, so you're just like, oh.
Tired of waiting for you.
But it's like, but could they do that again? Like maybe, but you can't do that every single time. So like when you take a trope, but like you do your own spin on it, or you just like surprise, right? But it can make it a lot of fun, yeah.
If it's done well and it's not overused in a film, it can be done really like. I'm with you on that, and I know it's almost like Rob Zombie fans or haters. There's no in between. It seems either you like jump scares or you hate them, and there's just with fans there is no in between.
I'm trying to catch up on Jordan Peele's stuff because that new movie called Nope, which people think it stands for not a planet Earth, which I like the idea of like aliens. Like people talk about like what movie scared you as a kid. Now I was a teenager when this came out, but did you ever see Fire in the Sky?
Yes.
It's about
it's based on a true story.
Where this guy,
it's a great movie.
Now I'm a healthy skeptic.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where this guy named Travis Walton in real life, him and his buddies on like a logging crew, who's on film with the story, they see this light in the forest, so they're driving down. They pull up and they see a ship of some sort. He gets out. He gets blasted by this beam of energy, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And they take off, and they're like, "Dude, Travis just died. We had to go back for him." They go back. The guy's missing for like 3 or 5 days or something like that. He shows up on the side of the road completely naked, no idea what happened, but he starts to remember that he was abducted somehow. Now, the movie does differ from the actual account of Travis. But I believe something did happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but he has been so adamant over the years that something did happen to him. I believe him. Now, what happened to him? Yeah. Like what actually happened to him? I don't know, and I don't think anyone will ever know unless they were there. Right? So
his friends know something really strange happened, and he's not, that's what made the story so compelling for a lot of people, because it wasn't just him, a crazy guy laying naked on the side of the road, and people just think it's a nut job. They were looking for him and stuff, and something strange.
And again, with like the alien stuff, like if I see another thing about the Rendlesham Force incident, I'm gonna snap. Like honestly, like I don't know what to believe, because there's been some information that's been out there where it says, well, this happened, and then I saw something else that I think it was combined with another story. And I'm like, well, okay, now I do believe that those two guys did encounter something.
Yeah.
But what they encountered, who knows, right? Now I've never seen a ship, but I've seen some weird stuff in the sky going, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff, because I love going outside and just looking, and who knows if it's satellites sometimes, usually it's something that could be man-made. But I've seen some things that it's like, wow, like I saw 3 circles, and it could have been satellites. I'm not saying a UFO, but it was like definitely moving. Like, holy crap. Never seen that before.
I think
we don't know what the technology is that we have on Earth. I mean, I think it's kind of silly to think that people know everything and that we're the center of the universe of everything. I mean,
well, there's got to be life out there, but intelligent life is probably stupid rare.
Are we really that intelligent, though, my friends?
But they talk about how dolphins and whales have communication skills, and given the right opportunities, they could communicate directly with humans, because there has been studies where they can communicate back and forth, where you can teach primates sign language. But the thing is I can't remember the scientist that said it. It says yes, there probably is intelligent species out there, but they're not advanced because you can't smelt metal underwater.
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, look at just on this planet where they said there's no way life can live in this conditions, and sure enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot we don't know, and there could be other differences. What we think of an intelligence might not be, in it could be a different. That's where I love sci-fi because there's so much you can do with it. I'm a sci-fi guy, and the more really you know, the less you find out. Kind of deal.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really hard to find, but George R. R. Martin, of course, Game of Thrones and all that stuff, but he has his short story collections, and he never really combined them into one cohesive volume, but like he called it the Thousand Planets series. And basically, it's so far in the future, and humankind is spread so far out that it will take generations to get back to Earth. But he would do all these individual stories on like different planets where there was this one world where it was basically the shallow ocean, and these crustaceans and whatnot started attacking everybody. And then you realize, oh wait, they're all the same species, but they're fighting back because they're tired of being eaten in their most basic form. So yeah, but like the whole idea of intelligence, it's very narrow-minded to say that like we're the most intelligent. No, we're not the most intelligent.
We're not even a speck in the universe. We're not even a speck. I mean, like we are such a small speck in the universe. There's so much to, whether it's common or not. I think there's life all over the place. Depending on the kind of life that we think is intelligent or far superior in intelligence than we are. Who knows? I mean, there's more. There's systems that have been around hundreds of thousands of years before us, millions and billions of years before us, really. And you just don't know. I mean, like you think of it, stars, we're seeing them from 100,000 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what was it? Because of like science, there's a theory that the star that we're around is actually a second generation star. So what that meant was the stuff that's in our star, our sun, Sol, was in another solar system one time. So basically, that one blew up like eons ago. Another star system far, far away, supernova, shockwave hit and put everything back together, right, to make us. And we're Carl Sagan, like we're all made of star stuff. So think of it, gold right here, right? They have figured the only natural way to make gold is in the last 7 minutes of a dying star, like 7 minutes of life of a star, like where the conditions are right. Now they can make gold artificially, but it's like actually it was like it's like worth like a quarter, and but it can light like a city, like the amount of energy it takes, like you could light a city for like a week and you get like 25 cents worth of gold. Yeah. So think of it, like that was part of a star. Like awesome, cool, right? Anyway, so going off that.
But I know we've gone into total geek of talking about it, and I love it. But the more you think about stuff like that and how, I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it, because I don't want to say life seems so simple when you're down to earth, because it is, but when you really think about all the other stuff, it's just insane. It blows my mind every single time. It's almost one of those things when you start talking about it, you almost need to take your brain for a break once you start like going, oh my God, this is just insane.
The reason why I talk about this is because I'm 40 years old. I'm 40 years old now, but in my 20s, I was in a bad place. Like a lot of people we deal with like mental issues and whatnot. I am very lucky. I'm a very lucky person because I have people around me that love me, support me, help me get through it. But it's that thing where it's like, whatever you're feeling right now, and whatever you may turn to for for like an escape, horror, sci-fi, books, writing, music, anything, right? That it doesn't. It's finding that fine line between escapism and then facing your troubles. And I feel very fortunate because I hit a point where I remember I was doing a group therapy thing. I was going through a really rough time in my life, and like no one understood me and all stuff. And I'm sitting there one day and I'm going, I'm okay. Now, it wasn't like these people have problems. Like, no, these people have some serious issues. Like, mine is very trivial. So again, turning to science and nature, where they talk about how astronauts will go up in the space station and they have this feeling of being small, and how it can really affect them because their lives are so driven. Now, to me, when I look at that, now again, this could be different for absolutely everyone else. To me, that's like thinking where it's like the tiniest little thing that like makes up like an atom to like the unfathomable scale of the universe. And you think about it, you're going, my problems aren't that bad. Right now they are. Now I have to pay my bills. I have to make sure I take care of myself. I have to make sure that like my family is safe. But when it really comes down to it, it's like a metaphysical thing where it's like, yes, now I'm an atheist, but there's moments in my life that it brought me to that point. Now, I am not saying in any way that like, oh, you believe in that? No, that's not right. No, that gives you comfort. To me, nature and science gives me comfort, right? It's like, okay, I'm good, right? Like where it's like, okay, if there's something, great, but right now it's right here, right now. The philosophy is don't be a dick, right? So
whether you're an atheist or you believe in religion, it doesn't mean you know, be a good person while you're here. That's or the best person you can be.
Try to leave this place better than what you found, right? But like make an impact, like how going back to Sarah and her dad, where she impacted my life in that moment too, right? So it's like, yes, I love the idea of like another level, but if there isn't, right now I'm living the best life I can, and there's moments where I didn't always do that, but I try to remember and try to pass it on, right? So so that's
trust me, I get it. I was a landscaper for, I mean, I'm turning 46 next month, a few days. And, you know, I landscaped for 25 years and I worked with Alzheimer's a little bit, but the last 8 years of my life, I've been dealing with special needs. So it's been my life, and it makes, not only do I try to make a difference for them, what the difference that they made for me is, it's something special, you know. I mean, it's very
dementia and Alzheimer's. That runs in my family too, and it's something that's concerning because I may be on borrowed time. I don't know.
I'm
right now, I'm just trying to live the best.
It happens on my mother's side. My grandmother had it. I had to take care of her. My great grandmother had it. Hopefully, my mother, you know, she's still pretty she's getting up there, but I've spent time with her. But you know what, she's still sharp enough, but you know, it goes quick. You never know, and you try to appreciate it. And like I said, it runs in my family too, so I can relate to exactly what you're saying. And watching somebody become somebody totally different, and you know, it's Alzheimer's is one of the hardest illnesses to deal with for a family, because it's so hard to, unless you know about it, to see your family member become something, a shell of themselves. And you know, every once in a while with Alzheimer's, you get a little bit of that, and then it slowly goes, and you get less and less and less until it's gone. My grandmother stroke, and you know, just watching her go from this lady who was always so happy as a kid to, you know, it's sad. You know, it's a hard disease. You hope they find a cure for it. So I do understand your concern.
Yeah.
I have the same one.
It's that thing where it's like using the terms like you remember those moments, but at the same time you're like, will they remember those moments? You can't dwell on that. But like having those, like, what was it? What was his name? The comedian. I can't remember now. Anyways, he said, happiness isn't a state; it's moments.
Yeah.
Happiness is like a cookie or a cup of coffee. Now, it'd be great if it was like a state you could constantly be in, but then you don't. But anxiety is how you pay the bills, right? So,
well, I mean, it's hard to have happiness without unhappiness. You can't have. You always have to have the yin to the yang because you can't be happy. If you're always happy, and there's nothing. I mean, that's what life is, ups and downs. And I've learned that too. I mean, I've gone through hell and back. You know, I mean, I'm not going to get into my whole life story. You know, luckily I survived through a lot of things, and you know, but it makes everything that much more rewarding. You know, like luckily I'm in a place now where if I hadn't experienced what I experienced in my past, I wouldn't be able to enjoy what I'm doing and love what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I take care of people that are really special to me. I get to do this whole thing. I get to sit down and have these interviews with you. I get to have all these people, all these amazing people watching, and it's like I don't know. It's a good time in my life, so I'm lucky on that. Knock on wood, it stays that way. And conventions come down now. Good times. I'm going to be suffering on that stupid drive to Florida and back to but you know, it's sacrifice that happens.
The whole thing, the famous Canadian band, the Bare Naked Ladies, their new album. I can't remember the name of the song, but great line from like one of their new songs was, "I'm alive, but that doesn't mean I live well." Or sorry, "I'm alive, but that doesn't mean I've lived well. It just means I've gotten up every time I've been knocked down."
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep getting up.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I think nobody's always had things go perfect. Everybody's had rough times in life. Every person, I don't care who you are, has gone through hard times. You know, it's about standing back up when it seems like it's the worst. You know, it feels when you finally do stand back up. No, and there's been times that I'm sure everybody's been through where it's like, you know, I don't know if I can stand up again, but when you do again, it makes a big difference. You know, never give up.
Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want to stay down. Yeah. But remember that there's always another day, and just do your best. Just I've been a supervisor in many of my jobs, and people say, well, like I'm doing my best. I said, that's all I ask. Like, show up, do your best, right? And if you feel you can, let's talk, right? Yeah. Well, anyway, so we're trying to get into more of the philosophy stuff. Want to hear some stories about Texas?
I do. I got a few more minutes. I actually got to get. Tell you what, we got to set up another one. I want to hear more about Texas.
Yeah.
Can we do a part 2?
Sure.
Another one because I'd love to have you back on again because I think there's so much more we can still talk about.
Oh yeah. Actually, I'll tell you the being pulled over story, and then go there. Yeah. So okay. So so we're there, and we're having to borrow a vehicle. And now the vehicle wasn't in the best condition, but it was drivable, and it has a few electrical issues, so not a big deal. I'm like, okay, feel safe driving this, whatever. So we're leaving Bartlett, so we're about an hour away from home base. So let me set this up. It is about 9:30 at night, and it gets dark in Texas. Like, I don't know, like it's so dark, right? And so I'm driving with Christina, who is just all around badass. She was like our main Slater. She did all the continuity shots. She many hats, like you name it, other than actually holding like the camera and the sound gear, she did it. So it's her and I driving back, and we're one of the last people to pack up, and so we're heading through Bartlett. Now, the night before, I wanted to make sure the car worked out good. So headlights worked, signal lights worked, brake lights, all stuff, but the dashboard lights didn't work. So I had a bracket for my phone, and I kind of angled it so I could see the actual speedometer. I had an old beater car years ago. I was able to do it. So I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm within the speed limit, I'm good, whatever. So the next night, we're going to Bartlett, and Christina says like, "Hey, watch out for 5-0." I said, "Oh, all good. It's 50. I'm going 45. I'm all good, right?" So I'm driving 10 seconds later, lights. I'm like, okay. So I pull up to the side of the road and put in the park, turn the engine off, hands are up on the wheel. And I realize my hands are covered in blood. The fake blood. Like they're just covered. I'm wearing an old hoodie, so like I'm covered up, but my arms are also covered too. And then I glance in the mirror and I realized, now, even though I was wearing the mask, I always had to put on a ton of baby powder to dry my face out. But the fake blood would leak down through sweat, right? So I looked like a reject for like a Joker cosplay, right? So I got like red on one side, white on the other side, and just dirt everywhere. My hands are covered in fake blood. And I'm going, well, shit. so the patrolman comes up on the passenger side. I'm like, "Hi, sir," and he takes one look at me. He's like, "What's going on?" and I said, "Hey, sir, it's just, I pulled you over." I said, "No." And then Christina says, "Sorry, officer, we're filming we're filming a movie up the road. That's why we look like this." Because she's also covered in like handprints of blood too. And he's like, "Huh, okay, all right." And so he says, I said, "Sir, I'm sorry. This isn't my vehicle." Right away, I'm like, "Why did I say that?" He says, "Do you have insurance?" Do you have insurance? And I'm like, "I believe so." So I grabbed what I had, and he's just like, he just has this certain tone to his voice, and I'm like, everything I'm saying is just wrong, right? But he's not getting upset or anything like that. And so he said, "Okay, do you have your license on?" He says, "Yes, but it's in the back." So big guy covered in fake blood, side of the road, looks like he's been doing something illicit with his face because it's all covered in like powder and whatnot, right? So I open the back hatch, keep a wide open stance. I said, "It's in the bag, sir." But as I open up the hatch, all 4 masks are laid out. And he goes, "Huh." And I'm like,
"You back up."
and my instant thought was, "You're cool." So I hand the license. I said, "Sir, I'm from Canada. I'm from British Columbia." So he says, "Okay, I need to run your license. Just hop back in your car." So he comes back and says, "The reason why I pulled you over is because your taillights don't work." I'm like, "Oh crap," right? So I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna park this. I need to." I said, "We're gonna go back to a store which was like a quarter mile down the road." I said I was gonna park it for the night, and so we get there, and we're sitting in the parking lot of a Dollar General, and at this time, I forgot what my face looks like, right? So I'm out. So I call for a ride, and they're like an hour plus away. So we finally got home around like 12:30 at night or so. But I'm at the Dollar General, and I'm standing there on the phone. And it's well lit and whatnot, right? I'm on the phone with my wife, and another cop car pulls up. And he looks at me, he's like, "Are you the guy that called 911?" I'm like, "Oh, no." I said, "No, this is for a caution." He's like, "Okay." I guess there was another unrelated thing.
Oh man, you just ran into all the luck, huh?
Yeah, so I finally get home, and I take off what's left of my costume. I have a shower. Someone got me a hamburger. It's ice cold, but it was the best thing I ever had. And I'm like,
You're just glad to be home or out of bed.
Yeah. And this is also the night. This was also, I think it was Saturday, and there was the time change because of daylight savings.
Right.
And I need to be, and this is like midnight, right? And I needed to be up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go back out. So I get 3 hours of sleep, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" So then the last day of shooting, we're going back through Bartlett, and there was one convenience store that knew what we were doing up the road. But when we went in there, I stopped there, and another one of my fellow actors, he had some of the prosthetics still on him, so he's still covered in the fake blood. I'm still covered in everything. And we pull up, and there's a patrol car there. It's not the same guy, but there's a patrol car there. We walk in, and this big guy says, "We're filming a movie." so he starts to laugh. He says, "Heard about you guys."
They all knew about you by the time it happened.
It's like, heard about you guys. But then the clerk that was in there hadn't seen us, and he runs out. He sees me and my buddy, and he's like, "What's going on?" And the cop's right there too, and the cop just starts laughing. He says, "Have a good day, guys." So
you were well known by the time that you went through the whole course.
No, the fact that the Highway Patrol guy says, "Heard about you guys." So walk in. Also, the same gas station a few days before, Trish Powell, lovely lady. So we didn't have washroom facilities because we were on this old abandoned house. So it's about 5 minutes down the road. So she's like, "Hey, can I get a ride into town?" So I said, "Sure." So I pull up and I stop, and I have a little bit of powder on my face still, but no fake blood. But I pull up with this basically white guy with blood on his hands and this lovely African American lady at a gas station. And a car pulls up, and I pull my hands down. I'm like, no, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. So,
I'm just making sure she don't get out of line.
I'm like, I don't know how to explain this. But that happened before I got pulled over. That happened either the day of or the day before. So I'm just like, this is gonna be. Yeah.
Were you just ready to go to jail that day? Were you like, oh, do you know what? It's just, I'm you know, the stars are aligning this way. I'm done. I'm done.
Obviously, word got out because like the cop saw the mask and he went, "Huh," and word got around. And like 5 days later, the guy's like, "Heard about you guys." I'm like, I love this.
I'm guessing they've dealt with a few Leatherface masks out there. Luckily,
no, it is. It is a beautiful area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
3 hours of sleep and having to do what you did must have been rough. But I'm sure once that adrenaline kicked in, it made it easier.
There was some super early mornings, and my day job, I work security at a casino.
Okay.
Like big surprise, right? But I'm used to working till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So with the 2-hour time change because of the time zones, and then having to flip my schedule around, I've been home for a week, and I'm still like, oh god, like I've only been back to work for a couple of days. But I'm regretting not having a nap right now. So
I had one of those nights last night too, and now I'm up. Like I'm one of those adrenaline people. Like, oh man, I can't wait for this interview. Tired's kicking in.
Well, it's like the whole.
I had my soda. I drank a Monster, and I took some B12, and I've been able to do 2 hours. I was like,
I'm hoping. The whole thing where it's like that natural adrenaline, because like there's the difference between wanting to do something and having to do something.
Right.
Like you have to work, and you had to like trick your brain.
Yeah.
So there was a couple days where I woke up, I'm like, oh, I have to do this, but I'm like, no, wait, I chose to do this. Like I chose to do this project. I could have said no. Like if I really didn't want to do this project, I could have been a complete dick and say, Steve, I'm out.
Yeah. But it was something you really wanted to do. I'm glad you did, because from what I've heard.
Like going back to the whole where like basically all the pressure and all the responsibility was laid on Steve, because he's the director, producer, all stuff, because he's the money man basically, right? Yeah. And if he doesn't get done, it falls on him. But there was moments of frustration, but never anger. And the frustration would go away so fast because it was just because we all got along so well.
Yeah, you get stuck with a lemon, you make some lemonade and start going. You know, that's what it sounds like. You had some obstacles that it was like it could have gotten you down, but you guys stood back up and made it happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, eventually, like we all like several verbally said, like we're like, no, we're finishing this film. Like we are finishing this film. Like we can't walk away from this because like we all became like instant friends.
Right.
Now there was
It was about You didn't want to let each other down. It wasn't even about yourselves. It was, be supporting and lifting each other up.
Mm-hmm. We're like a lot of us had the same thing where like we were missing our spouses and significant others. Like I've never been away from. I was away for 3 weeks. I've never been away from my family in any capacity for that long ever. And stuff going on at home, and fortunately everything worked out. But like there was moments where I like to joke around that my wife and I like to trade off meltdowns because we both get sad about something, but we have that other person to help us out. Very rarely we're both breaking down over opposite things and having that voice. But again, I go back to Cody and Alicia. They were the first. I think they were the first two people that I met actually came in, where the three of us kind of had a thing where Cody has 2 kids, and his ex-wife and his girlfriend, and like he was 12 hours from home. Alicia was away from her husband, and so we had that thing where like we're missing our families.
But you could relate about the same thing because you guys were the same thing.
And we were able to chat about it. Where like there were several nights where it's like we both had a really hard day of shooting. I turned to Alicia and said, "Want to share a beer and call our spouses?" She says, "Sure." So like we had that moment where like we were together. We were going through the same thing, which was a benefit, like a really big benefit. Because yes, this movie was hard. It was hard, but it was so rewarding at the end of the day. Like there was moments you're like, oh, but like afterwards you're like, yeah, I did it, right? But
I can imagine. I mean, it was a lot that you guys had to deal with, from even what I was hearing from Steve last night, and then tonight what he was talking about, and what you were doing was, from what you've even said, it was not only demanding mentally but physically on top. Like it was both. You had a lot on your shoulders as far as the physical aspect, the mental aspect. I mean, that's a lot it's a lot of strain. Just swinging that chainsaw.
We all went through our own things because like there was some scenes where because of time restraints and because like Steve was saying that there was some not missing shots, but shots he wanted to do. But most of that was incorporated into other things, which we simplified stuff. So there were some days where we would not 100% rewrite the scene, but all of a sudden we would like, wait, we could stage it this way, and it makes it because it made more sense in the moment. And there's I can't really go into detail with that one, but all of a sudden, where somebody came with like an idea where I'm like, oh, that is better. So, but that is a cool thing about the writing process also, because I don't have that much experience in film, but mainly in theater. And I've done some original plays that had never been done before. Like they were written by some of my friends. And when we get together, the basis is there, but through just collaboration, organically, whatnot, just any word you want to use, where you're like, oh, we can make this better. Or we never thought of that, right? But having that trust and the fact that you had that instant trust, trust with like all these actors and all these talented people and all the crew and everything, just like, yeah, like this works because we all gelled so fast. Because I talked to some people online, but a lot of people I didn't meet till like the day of, but they were all just so kind. And like everyone I met, every single person I met down in Texas was just the nicest person. There was a few people that like I would use the word odd, but not like ugh. Like it was just like, but that was just like a one-off thing where like I worked with that person for like 5 minutes, right? But it goes back. It goes back to that thing
like
where
I said,
it's like everybody has a story. Not everyone has a happy story, right? Yeah.
It's like I said, Sarah was praised everybody, and her dad praised how great all you guys were, especially you. Like she was a big she's a big she's a big Scotty Parkin fan, that's for sure.
She actually what was it? My wife has actually gotten a hold of her on Facebook too, and that was when we were shooting there. There was moments of frustration.
Yeah.
But then the day that the like the flock of victims, basically as they were known of, showed up, it just made it. There was that. What's the word I'm looking for? Just that whole like, oh, we're doing this movie for them too.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like it's like theater. Like you have that.
She was the breath of energy you guys needed,
yeah.
like just like her excitement and what it really meant, what you guys were doing, and how excited she was to be a part of it.
Oh,
and you didn't want to let,
such a stress release and just the moment of like, oh, this makes it like you have the bubble, but there's stuff outside that bubble, right? And any kind of frustration just went away. And again, where it's like you should have struggles, you should have challenges. If anything is too easy, it may not be. Well, like there's like the saying where it's like anything worthwhile is never easy.
No.
Or it's like it ain't easy, or anything worthwhile never is, right? Where it's like relationships. Yes, it should be. People say, it's like 50-50. No, it's 100-100. Right? And that's a relationship either with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, work, right? There should be like there should be frustration, there should be communication, and when you have that realization where it's like doing the customer service thing, where like you actually have someone happier when they leave than when they came in. You have to kind of train your brain to think, wait, I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I'm doing this to serve people, right? So yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, I hope I scare people. So
you did, man. Yeah. We're gonna have to do part 2, man, because I've had so much
absolutely
talking to you, and you're dude, you're one of those people I could talk to you for a while, and we could probably talk almost anything and get along and have conversations for hours, So we're definitely gonna have to do a part 2. And I was saying, I'll be at 2 conventions. I'm gonna be at Spookala in May. Got big plans to hype up the Sawyer Massacre, other projects, indie projects. I'm ready to really crank it out. I'm excited for you guys, and I know Anthony Greco from Phantasm is super fan of this project. He's excited about it too. So, and it's both events. Doomsday's Krypt's coming to bring it with all the talented people he knows, whether it's indie mask makers, dio makers, artists, you name it. It's all about the community, all about the horror community, and I'm excited.
And that's what I'm doing this for, is like people that love this stuff, and the fact that I've embraced this and people have embraced me, where it's like it's a nice thing where, because again, with like any kind of genre, people are like, oh, we're like the nicest people. Like the whole thing with like you're talking about like Rob Zombie, where he has his persona on stage, but he's like the coolest dude, like off stage. So
Rob Zombie, either you hate Rob, it seems you either hate Rob Zombie or like Rob Zombie. I'm on the boat where I'm like I like Rob Zombie's Halloween. I do. I even got Over My Shoulder. Well, this shoulder. That's a Rob Zombie one. I think I got some other. Well, I got. Wow. I know I got Rob Zombies over here somewhere. I got. There's a James Grimm right there. I don't know if you can see it. Bunch of Jesse Aaron work too. I mean, I'm a Roy Part 5 fan, and I know I got. Yeah, I got I got that's actually, I got the original upstairs, the Crypt Keeper and Evil J and I got the original. I got a few originals. Scott Pratt. I'm a big fan of him. I got some cool stuff coming from him. I can't announce things because I got some big surprises coming to these conventions, and I'm excited. Like I'm biting my lip. I got some amazing things coming to Spookala, and from different artists, and I got even more coming to Phantasm. And it's like you can't say certain things with the movie, but it's awesome. Yeah. But it's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait till it all comes out.
I can't wait to share this with people, and I really can't. Like, I want to talk like all the stuff I did, but like I can't say who really kills and whatnot, because that's the frustrating thing. Where it's like this project's going to be with me for a while. And if this is the only film project I ever do, I'm okay with that. I would love to do more, but again, with the world is right now, theater opportunities are quite low where I am. I have a few things out there for some online stuff, which hopefully that does happen. I'll share it with you guys too.
Oh, I'm looking forward to more info.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
But yeah, like. This is a hobby that I embrace wholly, and the fact that my family is behind me on this too, because it's like, again, the whole fan film thing, like I couldn't talk about it at work because people didn't understand it, but now that I've done it, people are coming back like, so what were you working on? And I'm like, I'll tell you, right? And we're hoping to do some sort of local premiere because Steve Neek and I all live within about an hour of each other.
Yeah,
and I'll do something. But
if you could get a drive-in theater to play it, that would be awesome.
There is one about an hour and a half north of where I live. And it's an independent theater. It would be kind of crazy. I have a few people in the theater community that basically, if we were to sell tickets for, would basically be enough to like rent the space, rent the equipment, but then everything else would go back into the production. Because independent films, like, money is like, you don't make money doing these.
No. I spend a lot of money doing this, but I love it. It's an addiction. I could have.
Going through immigration, where they say, like, you don't say I'm working on a project, because when you say work, like, you're getting paid for this. And I literally said because the amount of money that I earned from this, I put back in some way, right? So, but that was my choice. I wanted to do that, right? So they said, "Are you making money?" I says, "No, I'm literally doing this for fun." Like basically like my accommodations, the flight, and they fed me, right? But I chose to do this project. And now, yes, it would be great if I like walked home with like, I don't know, several grand in my pocket or something like that, but that's not how it works, right? But it's an
experience. It's something guaranteeing you'll never forget. Even through the hard things, like you said, if you don't go through the hard things, you can't enjoy the good things about it. And when you look back on it, those tough times, it'll be great memories.
I've made some really good friendships, really good connections, and the fact that we went through this together, we came out stronger. So but with all the ups and downs, I would not change a single thing. Only thing I would change is the time being away from home. That was probably the hardest thing. Steve said to me, he says, look, or like he was asking questions like, what was your favorite thing about
it? He had a baby too. Well, his wife just had a baby not that long ago.
Yeah, he was only 4.5 months old. And like my wife and I are really wanting to start a family. Like, I'm getting older. I want prodigy. But Steve asked me a couple times, he says, what was the hardest thing about this entire process? And I finally had to say to them, I says, you know what the hardest thing was to do? Was having to take this off every day. Take off that ring every day. That was the hardest part, being away from my wife. Yeah. So, but I'm home. Yeah,
I can imagine it.
Yeah.
I've had so much fun, dude. I cannot wait to see this movie. I can't wait for more trailers. I definitely want to talk to you more again. I mean, I've had a blast talking to you. Steve, I've always had a blast. I thank him for coming on. The stories, I mean, we've gone for almost 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah.
That's a good conversation.
Actually, let's wrap this up because I could talk all night.
I'm the same way.
But if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm Scotty Parkin on Facebook. I'm sorry I'm not on the Instagrams or anything like that. I'm pretty basic.
I'll drop your link. I wanted to ask you about dropping your link, but I didn't want to. I don't do that unless I get permission. Like, I didn't know what to drop. I didn't want, you understand, give you your privacy in case you didn't.
Yeah,
I'll add it.
Just search me on Facebook. You see this mug, and you're good to go.
Well, you're tagged in the videos on Facebook.
Yeah,
but I'll add your information for Facebook on YouTube if you want. Like, I'll drop your link. I just didn't put it in there because I wasn't sure. I wanted to confirm with you. If you don't, I'll put down your Facebook link in the as soon as it uploads. It'll take me a minute to do it after the upload. I'll make sure it's there, guys. Reach out to Scotty, Leatherface himself, and he'll sign autographs, and I'll only take a 25% cut, $100 autographs. I'm just kidding, but Scotty, man, it's so cool to talk to you, man. I've been looking forward to it. Your enthusiasm and excitement in those little live clips you did. I always would miss them. You know, I'd be like, oh, he's gone. He's live. He's gone.
It was a couple days where, like, I'm like, oh, I didn't post for like 3 days. Because it was because it was hard to do, especially when I was performing. I couldn't have my phone in my pocket and actually, thank you, honey. Yeah, she probably wants me to come to bed. So
I'm sure she wants you too. Yeah, well, thanks, guys, and thank everybody who's been here. I thank all the support that everybody's shown. Doomsday's Krypt, and I plan on bringing some really, really awesome stuff. It's a total honor being a associate producer on the Sawyer Massacre and being friends with you and Steve and getting to know you guys. I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing film. I know Steve and what he's done, seeing his other stuff. I know it's going to be incredible. Here's my son. He's saying no problem. He's still here. So, it's all about the community. You guys are all awesome. These indie projects are awesome. I cannot wait for the Sawyer Massacre. I can't wait for the first trailer. Thank you, Scotty. We're going to do this again. We're going to stay in contact either way, man.
Absolutely. Actually, some was really, some was by choice. Some was because of not being there. But I haven't fully read the script since probably December. But that was by choice.
Yeah.
The reason why is because when I watched this film for the first time, I want to watch this film for the first time.
There's going to be some surprises for you. You don't know all that goes on. You just know what you did.
There was certain performances where I couldn't witness, but there was other ones where were like, wow, that was really good. And I'm looking forward, like I said, like all the fans, I'm looking forward to seeing this film for the first time. And I tried my best to learn where I was, but everything else, because with just subtle changes and whatnot, like I know the script, but there's certain things where I'm like, oh yeah, that's in there, because I on purpose forgot because I want to be a fan. Like, yeah, why not? All right, well, thank you guys for listening to me yap for like an hour 20. So
it's been a thrill, man. It's been so much fun. We're all excited for you guys. Cannot wait to see you guys. Daniel Cruz, I got to give him a shout out. He did that Punisher that's behind me. He was in the chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, he did that. And I got another piece from him on the way soon. So looking forward to, showing off all these talented people. It's going to be some awesome conventions, and I'm hoping to really hype up the Sawyer Massacre while I'm there. Best of luck, brother. We're going to stay in contact. Thank you, Chad.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. See you all real soon, guys.
Peace.